Hi, welcome to Courageous Journeys. I'm Peggy Oliveira. Thanks so much for joining me today. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about self-trust. This is something that is relevant to really everybody, but it's a really important part of the healing process. And I think it's also the thing that we continue to work on, like really have to practice the longest. I'm still practicing almost every single day. It's something I have to practice. And in talking about, lately we've been talking a lot about like boundaries and taking care of yourself. But when you don't trust yourself in whatever way that might show up, it's definitely a whole lot easier said than done. Because a lack of self-trust causes you to doubt everything. Everything that you think, everything that you feel, everything that you desire, even your intuition. And that sometimes is the most damaging part, and also really sad, because your intuition is always going to guide you. Always. But we learn very early on in our lives to not trust it. And if you experience childhood trauma, it's not just like subtle messages that you get to not trust. It is your own voice, your own mind telling you that what you think, what you feel, what you fear isn't really real, right? How often do you talk yourself out of how you're feeling? How often do you minimize fear that might be present, or concerns that you have, or your own experiences? How often do you have a sense of something that you want or feel like you need, and then try to talk yourself out of it? Whether it's thinking that it's not really important, that you're being ridiculous or weak, all of those things we've typically done throughout our lives in some way. Maybe the language changes a little bit. But every time we do that, we're telling ourselves that what we're thinking, feeling, needing, desiring, that it's not real, that it's not important. And every time it creates more separation from our intuitive knowing and from ourselves. So learning to trust ourselves is definitely a process and a practice. Being able to really connect within, to notice what's happening in our body. How is our body responding to something? What are the emotions that are coming up trying to tell us? Most of us are really disconnected from that as a way of coping. And particularly when there are really difficult things going on, particularly traumatic things going on, there's a real purpose for that, an important purpose for that. It literally helps us survive. But in our adult lives, it creates more disconnect, more struggle, ultimately. So I wanted to kind of walk you through just a short practice to help you begin to connect within, to recognize what's happening, to practice honoring what is present for you. So, if meditation feels uncomfortable to you, then you don't have to do it for sure, of course. But maybe you can practice easing in or leaning into the idea. So maybe you don't really close your eyes and do the things that I'm suggesting, but maybe just listen with an open heart and see what comes up. Now, obviously, if it's still creating difficulty for you or panic or something like that, then move away and then come back another time and try. This exercise is not going to be really specific about breathing. And I know for many of you that focusing on breathing can create some sense of panic, and that's obviously not the goal or the intention. So while the focus is not on breathing, I may reference breath. And when you hear that, or if you hear that, try not to focus so much on your breath specifically, but just a reminder to breathe naturally. Okay. So if it feels comfortable to you, allow yourself to settle in to whatever surface you're on. Or if you have the ability, maybe you even relocate and get a little bit more comfortable. The idea is, and ideally maybe you sit up, but the idea is to be in a position that allows your body to relax. And part of that is just because relaxing feels good, but another important part of that is that if your body feels a little bit more relaxed, then it's easier to connect with what's happening inside of it, instead of feeling some of that discomfort or tension. So this isn't going to be really long, but it's just something that I hope you find helpful. And while I'm doing this around the idea of a practice to help you learn to connect within and trust yourself, this is really a practice that you can do for any number of reasons. So use it in whatever way, or whenever you feel like you'd like to just take a little bit of a break, maybe a moment of self-care. So as you settle in to the surface below you, just notice your body in the position that it's in, noticing where your body touches the surface below you, feeling that pressure. Hopefully it's not painful, but just noticing where your body meets that surface. Noticing how that surface is supporting you, whether it's a chair or the floor, a pillow, whatever it is, just noticing how you're supported there. Sitting in whatever way feels comfortable to you, but ideally you will be sitting in a position that allows you to have your spine fairly straight, allowing spaciousness for the energy to flow. So as you kind of adjust into that space, feel your body sink in a little bit further. And as you exhale, just very naturally as you exhale, see if you can imagine your body sinking in a bit further, releasing tension a bit more. And just notice that sensation. If it feels comfortable to you, maybe you close your eyes. And just continue to notice. And now take a moment and notice in your body anywhere if you feel any sensation. Maybe it's something that feels uncomfortable. Maybe it's temperature. Maybe you feel some energy in your body. And just notice that it's there. Notice what it feels like. And just giving yourself a few moments to connect with that. And if you need to adjust, feel free to adjust. And now I'd like you to put your hands together and rub them just a little bit. Create a little bit of warmth or heat in your palms. Don't do it too harshly, just a little bit to get that heat moving, get that energy moving. And then put one hand over your heart area and the other on your belly, below your belly button, if it feels comfortable to you. If not, you can just put your palms on your thighs. And just notice the sensations. Maybe you feel the heat of your hand on your skin. Maybe you feel a transference of energy. Maybe you feel the rise and fall as you inhale and exhale. And just let yourself sit here and notice for a few breaths. Don't try to analyze. Don't judge. Maybe you don't really notice anything, and that's okay. It's just about practice. If you were to ask your heart what it most desires or needs right now, without any constraints, with anything being possible, what comes to mind? Try not to censor. Don't question it. Don't ridicule it. Don't tell yourself it's not possible. Just notice. Sometimes this can feel a little emotional. And if so, that's okay. It's you connecting within. It's you honoring what is present for you. So just notice maybe what's happening in your body. Maybe that stirs something up. Notice where your mind goes to. If you notice any sort of sensation or energy in a particular part of your body, sending your focus there for a moment and asking what is needed. Maybe you ask, what do I need? Maybe you ask what that part of your body needs. You don't have to have the answer. It's okay if you don't. The question is important. Allowing the space to connect within, to connect to your body and the sensations. Creating space to consider what you might want or need. If your eyes have opened, just kind of naturally, and it feels comfortable for you to do so, I'd like to invite you to close your eyes again. It helps you kind of connect more within your body, because if your eyes are open, you have a lot of visual stimulation that can take your focus away. So just if it's comfortable to you, bringing your eyes closed, or if you're not comfortable with that, maybe just allowing your gaze to soften at something kind of out in front of you. I know that for many of you, connecting to your body can feel incredibly terrifying And if that is the case, please do not force yourself to do this. It's okay to put it away, move on to a different video or something else to distract you, and come back another time. Part of the practice is sometimes doing it bit by bit. And right now, this is just about practicing connecting to your body. That's all. And again, you're not forcing your breath at all. You're just making sure that you are breathing. What do you notice now in your body? How are your arms feeling? Sometimes when you hold your hands, your arms in a particular position for a period of time, you can almost forget that they exist. Or sometimes they can feel incredibly heavy. There is no right or wrong. It's just about noticing. When you ask yourself, what do I want? What do I need? What do I long for? There is an answer. It shows up as maybe a very fleeting, quick thought, a visual image, or a sensation in your body. There is something that is there. You may not recognize it. In fact, many of us don't. And that's why this practice is important, because when you ask yourself that question, there is an answer. And your heart knows. Learning to connect with this space, this heart space. Learning to feel safe in our body is such an important practice. To feel grounded in a sense of safety and trusting in ourselves and the decisions and the desires. You know in your being what is right for you. You may not always act on it. In fact, most of us don't. But you know in here. And creating the space to have a practice to help you connect inside, within, is a big part of how you learn to trust in yourself. As you lean into the next couple of exhalations, whatever discomfort or pain, unease you might feel in your body, with each exhalation, see if you can imagine that energy moving through you, leaving your body. And then as you inhale, again, just a natural breathing cycle. As you inhale, imagine that oxygen flowing through your body all the way down into your feet, to the soles of your feet, and imagine, even if your feet are not on the floor, imagine the energy from whatever is touching the surface below you, moving through you into that surface, into the floor, into the ground beneath you. And with a few more inhalations, imagining that breath and light, that free flow of energy moving down into the earth below you, connecting you deeply, safely into the earth. And when you are ready, you can open your eyes, or maybe just remove your hands and lay them on your thighs. Kind of flutter your eyes open if they've been closed for a while. And just take a moment and notice what you feel. Sensations in your body, emotions that might be present, the temperature on your skin or even internally. I'd like to invite you, after you've completed this, once this is over, I'd like to invite you to take a few moments and maybe journal what this experience was like for you, what you remember experiencing, sensations, thoughts, feelings. Just give yourself a little bit of space afterward. Maybe you just sit in this position for a few more minutes, just letting yourself really kind of feel into what you've just experienced. Doing something like this on a regular basis helps you really notice, without having to be really deliberate about it, what's happening in your body. And the more connected we are to what's happening in our body, the more likely we are to begin to trust our inner knowing. Thank you so much for joining me for this video and this meditation today. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your experience in the comments. Let me know how this was for you, what came up. And it's okay if it didn't resonate for you. That's helpful for me to hear as well. And if you do enjoy meditations on YouTube, I do meditations other places, but if you enjoy having these meditations on YouTube, let me know that, and maybe I'll try to incorporate some more as I go forward. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope that this practice was helpful, and I hope that you really take this as an opportunity to practice a little self-care, because this is definitely self-care, even if there was some discomfort. As long as you're not, or as long as you're mindful of trying not to judge yourself, then it is self-care, because everything around emotional healing is practice. And sometimes you do a little bit better than others. Sometimes it's easier. And that's all part of the process. Thank you so much again for joining me. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. And if you think other people might find it helpful, please consider sharing. Giving it a thumbs up helps other people find this video as well. So, and of course, if you haven't subscribed, make sure to do so and click the little bell for notifications. I will look forward to seeing you in the new year. Wishing you a very, very happy holiday.